What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of CMA Podcast. How is everybody doing? Well, been a crazy week. Let me fill you in on what's been happening. Episode 77 for CMA Podcast. 77 episodes. When you say it like that, you know, it's like 77. Where did these episodes come from? What did I do to get to number 77? Like when you start on episode 1 and you get to 5, it's just like, wow, that's 5 cool episodes. All right, where do we go from here? But 77. I was thinking during the week, have a look at podcast statistics and see where I'm at, where I kind of slot in the marketplace for podcasts. Because yeah, we're associated with the gym, but it's like I talk about different things on the show, so it's not specifically fitness, fighting, things like that. I talk about music and current events and things like that. It's yes, a niche market, but when I check my analytics and I see what part of the world people are listening, because you see all of that. You see countries that you didn't even know existed or are watching your show, and you're just like, hey, I think I might have something here. Keep going. So I checked some statistics this week on, I believe it's podcastinsight.com, podcastinginsights.com or something like that. And I have a cool statistic. 56.1% of podcasts have 30 episodes or less. So the people get to like 20, 25, and 30, and they don't see the traction they're looking for or hoping for. And they stop. Podcasters have had enough, and they try and rebrand, and they try and do other podcast things or get a co-host. They just stop. They just don't do it anymore. And I saw that, and I'm like, well, episode 77 is coming up here. So I slot nicely above that 56.1%. Now, I'm not trying to tap myself on the back, although, But yeah, it's motivating for me. People are listening to the show. People are watching the show. I'm like, thank you very much for your support. You know, some episodes have less viewers, some episodes have more. If I have a guest, obviously people are sharing it, more people see it and stuff. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy doing this goddamn podcast. Let's see where we go. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now with the podcast. I'm trying to get more guests. I spent the last couple of weeks talking to a few people and saying, hey, this is what we're about. This is what we do. Would you be interested? And, talking to some famous people and their agents and stuff through the various different platforms. Some don't want to come on an unknown guy and his show. I get it. I understand. Some do. And I've got a couple of cool ones lined up for next week. So let's see what happens with those. But yeah, I'm really enjoying editing, setting up. Like right now, no idea what I'm going to talk about. Let's see where it goes. It's fun. I enjoy it. I would encourage anyone who wanted to set up a podcast but doesn't know how it all works. My brother introduced me to this world and showed me how you can get something out. It's so fucking easy. It truly is. And persistence is the key to it all. 77 fucking episodes. God damn it. I'm like, I couldn't fathom that 6 months ago, But here we are. So let's get off the whole, I made it to 77. Yeah, this weekend's fights. Some of you guys watched the breakdown I did with Bert Green from the Burt Locker. Check out his podcast. He's where I go to for information regarding upcoming fights. He breaks it down so well, and he calls his betting, he calls them terrible bets. Sometimes they're pretty goddamn fucking accurate. Bert is on the money with this. So go check out him, Bert Green, on the Bert Locker on YouTube and all audio platforms. I'm not sure which ones he does. But yeah, this weekend's fights. I won't touch on all fights. I'm just going to have a brief chat now because just finished boxing and I'm pretty goddamn exhausted. So I don't want to ramble. But yeah, let's break it down. Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns, a absolute war. Candidate for fight of the year. Everyone, including me, thought it was going to be a whitewash. Gilbert Burns was going to get mollywhopped by Khamzat Chimaev. Not the case. Everyone's giving Khamzat shit for looking human. There's, too many people with too many things to say on comment sections of social media, me included. But yeah, Khamzat didn't take the guy out in a minute. Didn't not absorb punishment. It was a great back and forth fight that everyone enjoyed, and that's the fight game. Like, everyone assumed Amanda Nunes would win against Juliana Pena. I assumed Holly Holm would lose to Ronda Rousey. The fight world is a different game. It's a different world. So yeah, go back and watch those fights. I watch them on like the next day. Sometimes if I don't watch it live. Maybe I should censor that. I shouldn't be promoting those websites for legal reasons. Yeah. Future Dave, censor that shit out. But yeah, I watched them and they were great fights. So that was my Sunday morning. The second one I'll touch on would be the co-main event, Aljamain Sterling versus Petr Yan, Miami, Florida. Was it Miami or Jacksonville? And like, with current events right now, the American was getting booed and the Russian was getting cheered. Strange country, that US of A. But we love him nonetheless. Our main source of comedy, right? But yeah, nonetheless, here's the thing about fighting and the controversy that surrounds that fight specifically. You got a 5-round fight, okay? And this was a 5-round fight. And what happens in fighting is you can win by many different ways. You can win by submission, TKO, doctor stoppage, referee stoppage, you name it. There's so many different ways. A lot of guys go the distance. It goes 5 rounds. And a lot of guys' strategy, believe it or not, is round number 1, feel them out. Round number 2, attack. Round number 3, attack. Round number 4, you can take your foot off the gas. You've won 3 rounds. Round number 5, coast. Coast your energy to the end of the round. You've won the first 3. He's won 2. Foregone conclusion, you've won the fight. But a lot of guys leave that first round very, very casual. They leave it not in a more... They don't do enough for a convincing win of the round. So this was no exception. We've had a very lopsided first round. Aljamain won the second round. Aljamain won the third round. Petr, am I pronouncing that right? Is that my attempted Russian accent? Definitely won the fourth round and definitely won the 5th round. So that's 2-2. And it's that first round is the decider. So everyone's shouting, robbery, robbery. Fact remains, MMA judging is flawed. It is corrupt. It is so terrible. None of the fucking judges have ever been in an MMA fight. It's old school commission boxing judges who've never seen a takedown, who've never seen ground game, control, physical dominance against the cage. There's that famous story that I think I told on another episode where Joe Rogan was cage side for like people warming up Like there was fighters in the cage before the cameras, and there was guys doing slow rolling, like jiu-jitsu, slow rolling. And there was like a judge next to Joe Rogan having a casual conversation, and she was just so interested as to what was happening. And, you know, they were fighting for like underhooks or whatever the control was on the ground. And the judge looked at Joe Rogan like so innocently and just went, so what's happening here now? And Joe Rogan doesn't give a fuck. He just turns to her and goes, aren't you a fucking judge? You know, that's what's happening in judging in MMA. So, and there's that old school Dana White quote where he says, don't leave it in the hands of the judges. This is why. And everyone's like, but you shouldn't have to leave it in the hands of, you shouldn't have to have that to fall back on. Like judging should be competent and scoring. No, judges are incompetent and the scoring is flawed. Knock the fucking guy out, take his arm, take his leg, choke him unconscious, send him into outer space, walk away with your fight money and your win money. It's the way it's got to be. That's got to be the strategy. Mike Tyson said, you know, these guys in boxing nowadays are businessmen. I wanted to take your fucking head off. I wanted to kill you, motherfucker. That's got to be the mentality. It's got to switch back to that way. Otherwise, people are just going to be moaning online on a Sunday. Oh, robbery. No, there was no robbery. There was no robbery. It's these two. And they were just, maybe I should edit that out. It's these two idiots just not trying to kill each other. And yes, I understand that there's a credentialism case being thrown back on me, but I've gotten in there, so it's okay. But it's easy to sit on a couch and say this, but you got to change your strategy. You got to be a killer. You got to take his head off. This old school GSP, do enough to win the round crap. Like, I think, was it Ray Longo? No, Hamzat Chimaev's coach between the second and third round said, stop brawling. Do what you've been taught to do in the gym. Make it a grind, make it boring, and win the fight. That's kind of the old school Greg Jackson approach. If you don't know who Greg Jackson is, check that guy out. But yeah, I don't know. We just, as a fight fan, I just want to see two people take their heads off and see an awesome fight. I don't want to see 5 rounds of speed. I don't know. Maybe I'm going down some dicey road here. Maybe I'm just tired. I boxing tonight. So with that, the main event was the biggest lopsided main event in the history of goddamn UFC, aside from when CM Punk fought. Do you remember that WWE guy? Whew, that was embarrassing. Or James Toney versus Randy Couture. That was another one-sided snooze fest. But Alexander Volkanovski from Australia took on the Korean zombie Chang Sung-ung, and Chang Sung got his face beaten off him for 4 rounds. I think they stopped it in the 4th. It's just like, all right, I don't want to talk anymore about that, but some good fights at the weekend. And an honorable mention, someone in some casino, I believe Vegas, it was hilarious. I'll stick it up here. This pro boxer tried to, this gang member tried to fight a pro boxer and got absolutely put to sleep. You don't clearly see the punch. You just see him snoring on the ground. One of the most viral videos you'll see all weekend. And then he turns to the people that were filming it and he just starts yelling his credentials. Yeah, 14-0, motherfucker. Like, one of the better fights of the weekend, actually. Quick break for our sponsors, guys. Guys, right now, I am enjoying a Lucerner beer. It's an Indian Pale Ale. It is 6.5%. That's a little bit more of the percentage that I'm used to, but it's still nice. Ice cold. Here's a pro tip. Stick it in the fridge for like 24 hours. An hour before you drink it, put it in the freezer. And before it crystallizes, obviously you don't want any slushy beer, but make it as cold as possible in its liquid form, and it is just delicious. Go to Lucerner Beer, go to their brewery, Burgenstrasse 16. Check out the stuff that they've got on display there. You can get all of their fancy items, accessories. You can buy beer directly from the guys down there. I go there all the time. I love the guys. They're awesome. Very welcoming, very forthcoming. And here's what you can do to help out the show. Get yourself a Lucerner beer, pick your brand, and post it on your social media somewhere cool where you're drinking it. The best picture at the end of the month will get a free case of beer directly from the brewery. Now here's the kicker. Posting it on social media, I need you to hashtag CMA Lucerner Beer. If you do that, you'll help out the show. We'll get a kickback and you'll enjoy your beer. You may even get a free case of beer at the end of the month. Once again, get yourself a Lucerner Beer. Post it on your social media with the hashtag CMA Lucerner Beer and get a free case of beer at the end of the month if your picture is the coolest. Lucerner Beer, my choice for this podcast. All right, guys, we are also sponsored by lolatong.com, a local business here in Lucerne, set up by some absolutely wonderful people, strong, ambitious, loving the game, loving the stresses, and we'll come out clean on the other side. We love them, they love us, and that's what we're doing together, a partnership made in heaven. Look at this dad hat. How fucking cool do I look tonight? Look at this oversized, big, baggy, comfortable hoodie with the cool branding on the side. lolatong.com. They will have you covered no matter what you're doing. Whether it's cleaning your apartment, going for a spontaneous dinner with friends, going out alone for a walk, it doesn't matter the occasion. You're going to look good in your Lola Tong apparel. Check out their website, lolatong.com. And here's the kicker for this one. At checkout, once you've picked your cool items of clothing or accessories, hit the promo code section and type in CMA. You will get a 10% discount at checkout. Once again, lolatong.com. Browse their website. Have a look at some things that you might want to see. You know, I mean, what are we now? It's April. It's in a couple of months, you're going to be buying Christmas gifts. I know we're talking about Christmas. It's April, but every year it gets, younger and younger and younger. So go to lolatong.com. Check out their stuff. Pick some stuff. Put it in your shopping cart. Head to checkout. CMA at checkout. 10% discount when you check out. You will not be dissatisfied. Go check out lolatong.com. All right, and we are back. Awesome. So yeah, talking to quite a few friends during the week, and a lot of them are saying, yeah, I've seen your show. You're amazing. Can I take a picture? Sign here. But they say, yeah, if there's anything I can do, let me know and I'll help any way I can. And I said, well, yeah, there actually is something you can do. I don't need you to put your hands in your pocket and give me your cash. To grow a podcast, there's many different things you can do, but the most organic thing and the most organic way to do it is get as many eyeballs or ears on the show as you possibly can. So that's why, I fucking hate it too when I'm watching a show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. It's the only way that helps. It's the only way it grows. It's the only way to get it to more people outside of your own social media promotion, And I think episode 77, I think that's why a lot of podcasters drop off the face of the planet. It's because it's so easy to start and it's so difficult to maintain. Like, without going too far into it, I can just briefly touch on, I've had a few episodes where I've had hundreds of views, and I've had a few episodes that I've had 6 views, and it's got a lot to do with the time of day you promote it and how you promote it. But essentially, a lone wolf with no machine behind me. And what I mean by that is a network, a big network of podcast promoters and people in the business with huge followings. I think that's why they would drop off. And, you know, I know of one specific podcast that has dropped off that I was a huge fan of. And I had one of their co-hosts on my show. And they were part of a machine. They were part of the Gas Digital Network in the US. And their content was suffering because of certain issues, but their views were dropping off. And after a 12-month contract, their contract was not renewed because many different reasons. I won't go into it, nor will I name them, but all I want to do is get this out to as many people as possible. And, you know, seeing the hundreds of views pop up when you check your phone in the morning is fantastic. Bear in mind that this entire concept was conceived with the idea that this would be in a gym and not at the fucking bar in my apartment, you know. So even the business plan of this podcast has not gone to plan. This idea started, I wrote it down on like a blank piece of paper. It was like boxing ring, sofa, table, drinks, 2 microphones, guest, talking about this week in the gym. Under no circumstances was it to be me on my own, sitting at my bar, talking into a mic. So adaptation had to occur for me to go on with this. And then the idea of guests and what would I talk to them about? What question? I'm not a fucking journalist. So where do you get your ideas to, you know? But yeah, this organically has grown. It's growing at a very slow pace. But when I saw the statistic during the week of 56.1% of podcasts have 30 episodes or less, I'm like, hey, keep going, motherfucker. So yeah, that's my journey with the podcast. And the only thing to get it out there more, the only way that people can help who say they can help, just let me know. Well, I'm letting you know now, guys. I need you to hit the like button. Take time in your day to watch me on YouTube and just go, Dave said to hit the like button. Boop. Done. Liked. Also, hit the dislike. If you don't like the episode, hit the dislike. Commenting also helps. Commenting is interaction that the algorithm requires. So, hey, great episode, or Dave, you rambled too long, and you know, fuck, stop talking shit, and you don't know shit about fights. I had a very astute conversation with a colleague once who quoted Floyd Mayweather's father and said, Dave, you don't know shit about boxing. And that hurt. That hurt me big time. But yeah, if you guys could find it in your hearts to hit the like button, hit me with a comment. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, hit the follow button and follow just don't have to search. It's just there. And rate and review. I don't know if rate and review does actually do anything anymore, but people in the podcast world still say rate and review. But yeah, that's the only way you can help, guys. Honest to God, I'm not going to put this on Patreon. I'm not going to have this be a monthly subscription where you can send me your money with a credit card payment once a month to see me try to talk into a microphone whilst drinking a beautiful cold chilled beer. But yeah, that's all I want. Interaction. That's all I want. Or again, if you're friends with me on Facebook, just share the link. Just click share. Or tell a friend. Tell a friend, hey, I've got this friend of mine who's so knowledgeable about fights, and knows how to dress with his Lola Tong dad hat and an oversized hoodie with the cool branding on the side, or knows how to drink a beautiful cold beer so eloquently on camera that he got directly from Lucerner Beers Brewery on Burgenstrasse 16. Drop in. He's trying to be an actor again. It's ridiculous. But that's what I'd advise you to do. You know, follow me, share my stuff, like the content, and hit me with a comment saying and then hit me with an insult or something sarcastic would be even fantastic. A sarcastic, fantastic comment. I'm rambling, guys, so that means I'm going to get out of here. Thank you very, very much for listening. 77 episodes deep. That is over double the amount of podcasts that drop off the face of the planet. They drop off after 30. I'm 77 deep and I'm going nowhere. City Martial Arts. Follow us on social media, especially on Instagram. That's where I'm most active, at City Martial Arts. We are looking very, very seriously at one property. Could very well be signed, done deal by the 27th of April. I will tell you that date right now. I am so confident in this deal that I got a quote from a moving truck today. But that's all I'm saying for right now. We are going to be back stronger and bigger than ever. So everybody watching, watch the fuck out.